you own an N54 and your water pump's not leaking, you better knock on wood. Because it's only a matter of time, and it will happen, I'm telling you. My second Continental water pump has cracked and left me stranded for the second time within 15,000 kilometers. I actually think this car spends more time up on jack stands than it does on the road. Now, since my water pump is covered under warranty through Rock Auto, I will be removing this and sending it out and showing you guys how to remove it in this video if it fails again. Because it probably will fail again, and when it does, I do have a permanent solution. There is option A, which I will insert the clip here. And then there is option B, which is the full metal water pump. So if this does fail again, so I just ended up saying, screw that, it is not failing again. I had and ordered the full metal water pump, some hoses, so I do not have to deal with this happening again. So to remove your water pump, you're gonna wanna jack your car up, remove your passenger side wheel. You're gonna need to access it from there. You're also gonna wanna remove your under tray, which I just keep off because you end up working on this so much, you might as well just leave it off, save yourself the time. You're also gonna wanna remove your large skid plate under here, which is held in by a bunch of 16mm bolts that kind of work their way around the subframe. Pull that off for some access. I'll also insert a clip here of what it kind of looks like when your water pump's leaking. It's a little hard to tell because it's really jammed in there like everything is on this engine, almost impossible to get to and to see. But basically you'll probably have a coolant leak from the passenger side. We're going to be pulling the fan assembly out because we're going to need that for some extra room. So there's two T20s here, we're just going to pull those off. So once you get that intake track out of the way, what we're going to do now is we're going to actually unplug this connector. There's two tabs, there's one on this side, like this, and then there's one on the back side of it. You'll probably need a pick to get the one on the back side unless you have really small fingers, like me, so it'll pull that off. And then for this tube, this coolant tube, be really careful prying it out. I heard they like to break. Never had a problem with it, but apparently they do like to break. So now we're going to remove this fan bolt up on your passenger side upper corner. I believe it's a T20, but I have a 10mm holding it in place because I lost the bolt. So from underneath the car, I'll show you guys, you're going to have a cooler here that's going to be attached to your fan shroud. And you're going to go ahead and remove that T20 bolt right there. So once you've unbolted this cooler, just kind of slide it back a little bit so it's not really going to get in the way, just like that. Just leave it there. And from here down there, there's going to be a tab. I'll show you what I mean. You're going to lift that tab up and pull up on the fan shroud. There we go. And so once you pull up, you'll have that released. I actually broke mine off. It makes it easier for when you have to remove it, because you will be removing it lots. So just, and this is easier with a helper. If you, can I get your helper, Zach? Hold that there. See, and be careful because this will snap easy. So you're gonna want to, you know, kind of get your buddy to help you out here. And now this will just honestly pull up pretty easy. Don't really force it, but you just kind of work it out of there. It's going to be a really tight squeeze like everything is on this car. Oh, I got some wires in the way here. Yeah, it's going to really be close to your oil cooler lines and everything. Right here it's going to hit, but just keep yanking, you know, don't break anything, but it will come out. It'll kind of get stuck on these lines, but gradually pull and it'll come out.
Move it left, right.
So once that's out, you'll have lots of room here. So now that we're just getting things out of the way on your passenger side wheel well, you want to remove this heat shield right here, which is going to be a 10mm bolt right there, and there's another one down there. Just remove those and pull that shield out of the way. It'll give you a few extra inches of room. So now I'm going to drain the coolant, and I'm actually just going to pull this hose off and put it in my bucket here. You could pull the caulk off the radiator, but I recommend against that, as
it will probably never come out, or it will never seal again when you put it back in, and then you will end up replacing your radiator. So to remove these hoses, there's just these clips that you're going to insert a pick in, pull back, they pop out. Now carefully pry your hose back and be gentle because they're going to be on there. You're going to have to be patient and work them off slowly. So once you've pulled your coolant hoses off and made a pretty big mess on the floor, you're going to want to remove these 10mm nuts for your power steering bracket. There's one there, one under there. Remove those nuts, pull these lines out of the way, and then you're going to want to remove these two brackets, which are held in on the top of the subframe by two 10mm bolts. Yeah, when you're removing the bracket on this side, the 10mm is up here on top of the subframe. It's really hard to get to. Just take your time and try not to get frustrated. So once you've removed the bracket over here under the sway bar, and this one that clips on to that power steering line, you're going to want to go ahead and remove your sway bar, which is two 13mm bolts on both sides, and drop that down. That's just going to give you a few more inches that you're going to need to work on this. So now that you got this extra room, we're going to remove these two 10mm holding the thermostat on, unplug it, and then back there you can see there's if I can get my finger on it, there's a hose clamp here, and then there's one right there. And those are going to be 7mm. Pull those off, and then the thermostat will wiggle out of place. This hose clamp here, it's actually a 6mm socket. They're all 6mm. So just loosen these off. This one I'm getting from up here, and the one on the back of the thermostat I'll actually get from where the wheel well is. You can see in there. So once you got these hoses off, I'm gonna just pull this hose off the back side of the thermostat and just kind of yank on it. Oh, we're leaking again, Jesus! And then just grab your thermostat and rip it out of the hose will pop off, and oh, we'll link a bunch of more coolant everywhere, and it's just it's part of the job. Now yank your thermostat out of there and fight with it, and there's your thermostat, and now you can see a little more of the water pump back there. So once you've made it this far, you're doing good. So there's going to be a hose clamp on top of there, the one that's still attached right there. You're going to take that guy off. There's a connector on the back side of the water pump that you're going to want to pull off. And then there's 4 torx bolts you're going to want to take off the water pump, and this should come out. I'll try to get a clip of me removing the back connector. I actually broke the clip off removing it, so I just kind of had the gasket maker in place. But yeah. So now that we are on the wheel, if I move this back, this hose, you can actually see the connector there. I globbed it on with some gasket maker just to hold it on, but so there's the connector right there. I put mine on with gasket maker, I just kind of globbed it off, but just pull that off. So now we're going to remove these 2 E12s down here, and there's also one on the top right there. This one I got out with a short extension. This one you're probably going to need to use a swivel and a weird combination of extensions, and I'll show you guys. Okay, so to remove this this other E-torx bolt, I'm able to just get right on it and just kind of crack it loose. And just... so now pull that guy out. One really important tip I want to share is with these E-torx sockets, if you have a wrench with a 12-point box end, they also work great for, they fit over the E-torxes, and they work great for getting into tight spots like this too. So this wrench and the closed 12-point end also does really make your life a lot easier. Okay, so now that your bolts are out, we're gonna just kind of wiggle this water pump out. Oh, it's gonna splurge again. So wiggle that out there, and yeah. And now we're gonna see where the point of failure was on this. So where this pump is failing is right here. There's a casting mark, and right here is where it continues to split. This is the third one I've went through within 15,000 kilometers. Now this is gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna show you guys where this pump's leaking. So I'm gonna spray right there. I'm actually gonna block this off and show you guys where this is bubbling from. So if I stick my compressed air in here now, you can actually see the bubbles starting to form there. One last thing here before we end this video. I've recently replaced my thermostat. If this is your first time doing this, you'll probably want to replace this. I've heard you'll also want to replace this hose, which I will be ordering. Additionally, these bolts are aluminum and they're one-time use. You'll want to order those. Maybe order any other hoses that you might feel like are soft or possibly brittle while you're in there. You know, anything else you can get to that's easier. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video where we install the water pump in this lumpy piece of shit.